When you switch to eating a healthier diet, like a high carb, plant-based diet, there's a lot of different things depending on what you're eating currently that you need to eliminate from your diet, from what you're eating. Instead of eliminating all of those things at one time, it's so much easier to do one at a time. Because if you try to eliminate everything, it's going to be really difficult. You're going to be craving all of these things. It's going to be really, really hard to satisfy your palate. And if you're not satisfied in your palate, it's hard to eat enough food to satisfy everything else going on. So, for me at least, eating this high carb plant-based diet, I'm trying to limit my fat. I'm trying to limit my processed foods and fat mostly. So, I'm going to start with just fat. I should eat less salt. I should eat less processed foods. I should eat less whatever it is, if it's like processed sugar for you or whatever. There's this list of things that you should try eating less of. And maybe even gluten, like depending on your personal health goals, you have a list of things that you're trying to eliminate from your diet. What I would say to do is pick the number one thing that you think is the most important and will make the biggest effect on your health in general. So if you're not vegan yet, I highly recommend making that first step and just getting rid of all the animal products in your diet. You can just go to the grocery store and buy all of the substitutes to replace the things that you're eating, and that'll be a great first step. But those things that you're replacing it with are still probably higher in fat, and even though they're processed and animal products might not seem processed, the plant-based versions will definitely be better for you. Animal products are not good for you. Too much protein, it's carcinogenic, our bodies aren't made to design them, and it brings a lot of health issues like heart disease, which is the number one killer of people in English-speaking countries. And if we were meant to be eating animal products, cholesterol, excess dietary cholesterol wouldn't affect us and would not give us heart disease. A natural omnivore won't get heart disease, and a plant-based diet is what will reverse heart disease and reduce cholesterol. Things also like diabetes and most of the ailments that are plaguing society today, they put the blame on sugar for diabetes, but really meat is just as insulinogenic as pure sugar, and regardless, our bodies need sugar to live, and the issue with the sugar in the blood is the fat. If our bloodstream is too filled with fat and the cells are too filled with fat, the insulin can't get in to do its job, the sugar can't get in to feed the cells, to give it energy, and then it's just left floating around in your blood with nowhere to go, and it hasn't been able to complete its job. So people they demonize sugar and put all the blame on sugar, but really it's fats, and specifically animal fats, animal proteins, that are causing really bad issues with insulin and diabetes. So start with getting rid of all the animal products in your diet. This is the way I'm doing it, so it might work for you too. Then next is eating low fat. So I'm trying to eat low fat, get rid of oils every now and again. I'll eat something like at a restaurant that's cooked in oil, or maybe something that's been deep fried. So I'm trying to get rid of eating the oils from my diet. Am I also going to get rid of salt at the same time? Eating something completely oilless when you're used to eating oily foods or fatty foods, because fats, especially when you cook with fats, they suck the flavor in. So when you eat something without fats, when you're so used to eating it with fats, it's going to taste different. It's going to feel different in your mouth and in your stomach. And it takes some getting used to, that's for sure. Same with eating things with less salt. It's going to taste different to you when you eat it. It's going to make you feel different when you eat it. And it takes some getting used to. But if you try to cut fat and salt out at the same time, your food is going to be really bland, and it's going to be really difficult to satisfy you in transition. So choosing the lesser of two evils is you make this list of things that you want to eliminate from your diet. Everybody's got a different list, depending on their personal health goals, things that they've read, whatever they're eating that they know they need to stop eating. You make a list of all these things, and then you start with whichever one you think will be the biggest step. Like for me, oil is the biggest step, getting rid of fats and keeping my diet low in fat while still eating processed sugars, which obviously I don't want to eat too many processed sugars eventually. I want to just be eating whole food sugars, fruits and dates and like carbohydrates, natural whole food sugars, and not just processed sugars. But right now I will still eat some processed sugars. For the most part, I try to keep it with like coconut sugar, maple syrup, things along those lines. But that's on the bottom of my list. Above that is salt. So I'm still eating pretty heavy salt. I mean, not dosing my food with salt, but I'll put a little bit of salt in everything I eat. And if I get something at the restaurant and it's really salty, I'm like, this is so good. But it's really easier. It's so much easier for me to make a dish at my house, put a little bit of salt on it, because it's really not going to cause too many issues other than maybe some bloating. Obviously, depending on your health specifically, you might need to cut salt out. It might be more important than cutting out fat. But if I cut out some salt, the benefits are only so much. But if I cut out fat, the benefits are so much more. So I need the salt during my transition of cutting out fat. I hope that makes sense to you. You should try it for yourself. Let me know down below what you think of this little theory of mine, the lesser of two evils, how to easily transition into a healthier diet. Just choose one thing at a time to eliminate. Choose one thing at a time to change, and once you get used to it, you can stop there.